Hello all, it's Dr. Wright, and today in Random in Psychology, our random number generated, page 268. When I turned to the page, I found it was talking about autism. So this is a fantastic and timely topic, so let's talk about it. First thing we're going to talk about is that autism is part of a classification of what we call neurodevelopmental disorders by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM-5. Autism spectrum disorder involves social communication deficits, restrictive or repetitive behaviors, difficulty coping with change, and it can go anywhere from mild to severe. There are no known causes of autism spectrum disorders, but we do know that genetics definitely plays a role. So, if someone you know has autism, it is quite possible that somewhere in their family there's also someone with autism that maybe is displaying different level of symptoms than the person who has been diagnosed with autism is. There are some researchers looking into potential environmental toxins that are influencing the development of autism spectrum disorder. But one thing that we do know is that vaccines are not an environmental toxin that causes autism. Vaccines do not cause autism. There is no research indicating that vaccines cause autism. We do know that the relationship between spacing of pregnancies can be correlated with the development of autism. The shorter the interval between children, the higher the possibility of the second child having autism. Other risk factors include things like having a sibling with autism, which does go back to that genetics thing, right? Older parents at conception, maternal obesity, maternal immune disorders, and very low birth weight. All of those are correlated with an increase in the possibility of being diagnosed with autism. Now, when we talk about autism, there's actually three levels of severity according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Level one is the lowest level of severity. This is what we call requiring support. So, folks with level one autism have some difficulty interacting with others. They have trouble transitioning between activities. They may have trouble with planning and with organization. This is kind of the least severe manifestation of autism. Then we move on to level two, which is requiring substantial support. This has a greater impairment in the person's ability to socialize, to communicate. They may have very specific interests and engage in repetitive behaviors such as stimming or pacing. And then we can get to level three, which is requiring very substantial support. And this is the most severe. We have with children and adults with level three autism, we have limited communication, substantial difficulties doing ADLs, which are activities for daily living, such as showering ourselves or using the toilet alone or getting dressed alone. Socializing and dealing with change are both very challenging for someone with level three autism. And unfortunately, because of the fact that so many of these kids present with so many challenging behaviors to caregivers, they are more likely to experience neglect and abuse. Okay, so that has been today's Random in Psychology. I hope to see you again tomorrow.